Welcome into another speed reviews video. You guys, I had to do these kind of close together because I already had another 30 products that I wanted to go over with you guys. Just like all my other videos, I do show you guys cutaways, and even though I've titled this new makeup releases, I have counted it. There is only 13 brand new releases, and the rest of the stuff is just stuff that I've wanted to try. I've been getting into brands like a little bit at a time. Also things that I've wanted to pick up that I've seen other people have just like over the years and like never pulled the trigger but saw them on sale for whatever reason. TJ Maxx, Marshalls, Ipsy. I don't think any of these are being discontinued for any reason, but I've been hitting a lot of the sales. So a lot of good notes. I hope you guys enjoy. Let's get into it. Let's start off with the eye category. I had 5 different eye things, and 3 of these are new releases. So this first one is the Revlon Glimmer Liquid Eyeshadow. I think this came out in all shimmery shades, which is really nice. It's a really easy formula to work with. Nice doe foot applicator. You can apply this directly to the eye, straight from the doe foot. I like to wipe the doe foot off and then apply it because it goes on a lot more evenly and it requires a lot less blending with your finger or a brush. In fact, I don't even blend when I use the doe foot after I've wiped it off. But if I go in a little bit thicker, which I have when I first got the product, I could definitely just like blend it out with my finger. That's kind of what I was doing, and then clean up the edges. This is really nice color too. This one is in the shade 201 on Cloud Shine. It's kind of a brown taupe shade and it has like silver reflective sparkles in it. Really pretty. The sparkles, for whatever reason, are like powder inside of the liquid. One of the things that this product says on its website is that there's no glitter fallout, and there is a little bit. Because those sparkles feel like powdery, you can tell that there's a difference between the liquid and the sparkles. It's not a huge deal, but there is some fallout, you know, especially if you like touch your face throughout the day. This lasts all day and it never creases on me with set eyes. I just think this is a really good shadow. I have a lot of liquid shadows that are more expensive than that aren't as easy to work with as this. I'm thoroughly enjoying this particular one. Not a new release, you guys. I got a Super Shock from ColourPop when I was in Ulta because I was walking past the ColourPop aisle and I saw this and I was like, oh, look at that shade. It's called Party of 5 and it is the one that I'm wearing on my eyes today. It is so freaking pretty. It's got a purple looking base, but then when you get it to the eyes, it's kind of pinkish purple, maybe more pink. You know, I've never been a huge fan of the Super Shock formula. I don't know. Some of the shades just have never excited me, but this one, I really enjoy the base on it. Where not a lot of the Super Shocks that I've tried have a super strong base. They're mostly sparkly or glittery, you know, that sort of thing. But this one has that blue reflect on top of pink, and it is so freaking shiny and so pretty. And you know, these are really easy formulas to work with and not super expensive. I just literally do the same thing, wipe it on with my finger and clean up the edges. I move on. I don't even touch a brush when I use this. So this Party of 5 shade, you guys, I just thoroughly enjoy it. It's mostly a shade thing for me that I'm reviewing for you guys, not necessarily a formula thing, because I think a lot of us have tried the Super Shock formula. I got this actually straight from the Catrice website. I've been watching a lot of Marley Wynn's declutter videos lately. I had a bunch that I had saved, and so I've like been binge watching them, but she reviews Catrice a lot, and there is a lot of stuff on their website that I think gets missed and is super underrated. And I picked this up and something else from the website. This is the Space Glam Chrome eyeshadow, and this one's in the shade Supernova. You know, it's kind of similar to the one that I'm wearing now, just has a little bit more of a purple base. It's got light reflection. It's very easy. You know, there were 2 or 3 years ago that I tried the LA Colors like powder chrome eyeshadows, and they were awful. They were dry, they were patchy, they were weird, they weren't super reflective. I think that this is what that should have been. And I even got a similar purple shade at the time. It was kind of like blue purple, but it didn't shift at all. These are really good, affordable. I would get more shades in this. I don't know, it's not a lot of product, but it definitely performed really well. And I'm thinking of it against a lot of my other singles in my collection, and I'm thinking this is cheaper and it performs maybe just as good. Now, I don't think they have a huge shade range in these. I want to say there's probably 4 total, and this one looked the most shifty, so maybe there isn't a ton more that I would want to pick up. But if you guys are interested in checking out the Catrice website, of course I will be listing everything and linking everything in the description box, including the shade too. So if you're interested in popping over there, the only person that I've ever seen on YouTube review them is Marley Wynn. But I see why. You know, you can get a whole collection and it's not super expensive, but I think the quality of their products is like really good. All right, this is an interesting one, not a new release. I picked this up from Amazon and I am wearing it now. It's called Kaylee, I think, Kaely, and it's the Longwear Gel Eyeliner. The reason that I picked this up is because I saw someone do a short and it was like one of those liners that you hold near your eye, close your eye and drag it out and it lines your eye perfectly. Now this one popped up when I was searching for that one, so this one isn't that. But I thought, you know what, to do maybe like a cat eye, this might be really good because I'm terrible about getting really close to my lash line and especially my inner corner. So this one has like a sharp tip on it. This is the most pigmented, creamiest freaking liner I have ever used. You can't escape the pigment. That's how pigmented this one is. It is honestly so freaking good. I'm gonna have to sharpen it when the tip gets dull because I actually really do enjoy the tip. So that might be a little strange because there's obviously like a thicker base to this product, but the liner itself is absolutely stunning. Again, super duper pigmented. And even though you can smoke the shit out of this, it literally lasts in my waterline better than any longwear eyeliner I have right now. And it's crazy because I struggle with that. I tend to water a lot, so these liners, they don't stay. The new e.l.f. one, the no budge one that just came out that I just reviewed, it was really good. It doesn't stay as long as this one. I don't even know what this one was, like $8 for a pack of 2, and I don't know where this comes from. By the way, it's in the shade 04 Black. So yeah, it did come with a 2-pack. It took me a second to figure out, like, do I like this? Am I smoking this out? Am I going to use this in my waterline? That's kind of how I like to do it. Like I'm waterline and then I'm just like buffing out the edges, and it's quite an easy product to work with. Weird, but like easy. Honestly, I don't know where this comes from. I don't, aside from Amazon and the fact that it popped up, but it's still on there. So if you guys are interested in checking it out, I also kind of use it to do a little bit of a cat eye, but it's a little bit on the creamy side. So it's not gonna stay, I think, the way that a cat eye is like meant to, you know, it's really supposed to be pronounced like on the inner corner rather. And I don't think this is good for that. It's funny that this is so budgeable. You can really smoke this out, but it stays in the waterline so well. It's really weird, but I've come to really enjoy this product after I was like, what the hell am I supposed to do with this? I figured it out and I really enjoy it. So I'm holding on to the second one as well. All right, the final eye category product, and it is a new release, is the waterproof version of the Hypnose Drama mascara from Lancome. So they've had the Hypnose out for some time, but this is the waterproof version. This is an interesting formula. It's an interesting mascara in general. I don't like the S-shaped wand. It doesn't do anything for me. It kind of complicates the process, like overall, just make it straight. The bristles are like super duper soft, so they make a little bit of a mess for me. The formula is a little bit complicated because when it first goes on, it slips through your lashes. It's so creamy, it's so emollient. I'm like, is it even gonna give me pigment? But then as I keep going, the formula tends to dry like right when you're putting it on. But it's not making it crunchy yet. So like as I continue to apply it, it starts really building up that intensity. The problem is because it's initially such a wet formula, I am making a mess. And there's even little fallout like on my cheek, and I'm like, what is going on here? Like, why is this happening? That usually only happens when the mascara starts to dry out. It's a whole weird thing. But ultimately, it builds up such intense volume, which I don't think everyone is gonna like because I do think it gets like spidery and kind of chunky, but it's still intense. And then it is really pigmented. It's so weird that it's so wet when you open it, and then it almost immediately starts to dry. And this is freaking waterproof. I have such a hard time getting this off in the evening. So if you're looking for a drama, like volumizing drama mascara, but that waterproof aspect of it, oh my gosh, this is one of the best waterproof mascaras I've tried. All right, let's move on into the base products. We're gonna start off with Complexion. I do have like quite a few new releases in the Complexion category, but I actually want to talk about one primer that I picked up, also in Ulta, like when I picked this ColourPop thing up. I like to walk down every single aisle and like swatch things, and I saw this little mini. It's the Tarte Timeless Smoothing Primer, and I want to say that I've seen Tati talk about this. Like she loves this. This is a holy grail for her. She's been using it for years. So even though I've never before felt compelled to pick it up when I was walking past it, I was like, now I'm compelled. This is the mini, if I didn't mention that already. This feels like a drier silicone based product, and it honestly, it could be, I don't know know what the formula is of this, but it's a really good product. Like, she's definitely not wrong. It is very smoothing. It has like a mattifying aspect to it. I love it only in the T-zone only. I don't even want to put it over texture. What I like to do is just like put it over my more combo, like oily, sweaty parts, which is really just my T-zone and maybe a little bit farther out on my forehead. I will do the whole forehead with this. The thing is, it doesn't lock my makeup down necessarily. Like, it doesn't keep me from getting sweaty or oily. What it does is, like, when my makeup starts to break up, oh my gosh, my face looks so freaking smooth, which I think makes me look younger in some cases. You know, I have coworkers that wear makeup, and I do notice that, like, as their makeup starts to dry out and fade throughout the day, it starts looking more textured. And I think that ages people like quite a bit. So the fact that I've been using this and it really smooths out my skin when my oils start peeking through, honestly, I just think it looks a little bit more youthful, that really smooth skin aspect. So I've really been enjoying this. I have caught myself in the mirror like every day that I wear this and I'm like, why is my nose so damn smooth? The thing is, be careful, I think, because I put it under the eyes like a couple of times, just kind of got right here. I think this formula is a little bit drying. I was saying like mattifying, and so I've noticed that, oh shit, I had a really dry under eye day, and it wasn't with a concealer that I normally get that, and I know it's just because I got way too close to my eye. So I would say that if you wanted to use something like this, probably better for somebody who had combo to oily skin. I don't think this claims to be like mattifying. It's more poreless, but I do think there is an aspect of that to this. All right, let's go over the foundations that I got, and they're all new releases. The first one is from Lancome. This is a skin tint, really. This is called the Fresh Glow Tinted Serum Lightweight Buildable Coverage Serum. Okay, I don't know why I kept reading. This one's in the shade 12N. So if you guys tried the L'Oreal Lumi Lake Lotion, like that skin tint, basically this is the more expensive version of that and maybe a little less metallic. But it is metallic in the same way that the L'Oreal one is. This doesn't offer like a shit ton of coverage at all. Like, I have to use a lot of this product for it to really be any coverage. It really is quite like a tinted serum. In fact, you could probably use this as like under the foundation kind of product. It's way too expensive to be using it that way, but that's how I find it looks on me. It just gives me like this glowy finish with almost no coverage, which is something I would like if it had an SPF aspect of it. You know, a day in the sun, I don't want to have a full bead of foundation on, so I want something that's a little bit glowy with that SPF, but this doesn't have that. So for me, this doesn't serve any freaking purpose. There's just not enough coverage. It does have that aspect of metallicness and no SPF. I mean, if you guys like that, I don't think it wears poorly. It doesn't do enough to be a like foundation type product for me. All right, the next one is the new foundation from Benefit. It's the Professional Foundation. This one is in the shade 5C Confident. So when I initially reviewed this, I said that it had like terrible undertones because this 5C was supposed to be cool. I think it's more on the neutral side, so I still stand by that, but it is an undertone that works for me because I usually can work with neutral and cool undertoned foundations. I think this is really pretty. This is a middleweight foundation, so my version of heavyweight is maybe something that's whipped, and then very lightweight, it's very runny, so it's like right in the middle. You guys will see on the swatch like how in the middle it is. It'll start to run after a second. This is supposed to be a smoothing and blurring foundation. That I really notice, and that's one of the things that I love about this. I think that it's immediately medium coverage, easily built up to full coverage, and it's more of a soft matte finish, maybe even more matte than soft matte. That's what I personally like, but I really love how blurring and smoothing it is. My favorite way to apply this is honestly less product to give me less coverage. I don't think you need a lot. A little goes a long way, and also with a sponge. That's just my favorite way. I do notice that it sinks into my fine lines occasionally, like if I end up going a little bit too heavy. It's a beautiful product. Beautiful, and 5C works for my skin tone personally. I don't think it's an all-day wear. You know, it's not something that is super duper matte that locks down all day, and that like when I start sweating, the foundation continues to stay and, you know, maybe looks a little bit more natural. It will fade off of me. me. So not super duper matte. I still think it's probably a foundation though that's better for like combo to oily skin. Same thing with this. This is the new release of the reformulated Too Faced Born This Way. They're calling this the Undetectable Medium to Full Coverage Foundation. I don't know what it was called before, but now it's supposed to be a natural finish with a lightweight formula. I think before it was maybe a little bit more matte, and I think that's what it claimed. I'm pretty sure. I think that it is lightweight, more lightweight than the Benefit. You can see this one like run more, less whipped. The shade ranges on this, like, oh my God, it's awful. This is made in Italy. Didn't know that. This one's in the shade Vanilla and it is so dark. And then like Snow is somewhere near there. I've never landed on a great shade in the Too Faced Complexion products. Never. The concealer was always too yellow. And then there was one that I had that I think was in Snow that was like this stark white. Again, never landed on a great shade. I bought this in store, so I was swatching a ton and I thought this one would work, but this looks like straight up orange. You know, when I'm blending it in with a sponge, like the sponge is orange afterwards. I have it on the left side of my face. I noticed that it's darker than the Benefit, like, but maybe if I didn't say that, I didn't call it out, you can't tell. So I feel like it works. It's just not a great undertone range, I think, in this foundation. Anyway, I think it is a soft matte finish. I don't know about natural matte. You know, I think it's, again, like the Benefit, where it's probably better for combo to oily skin. Yes, I think it's way more full coverage than medium coverage. Same thing with the Benefit. Less is more with this product. Again, not a super long wearer. It doesn't claim to be like, you know, 24-hour wear or anything like that, but a lot of mattifying foundations just kind of are more long wearing anyway. This one is pretty though. Again, it just blurs. It's really nice on the skin. But if it came down to like Benefit or Too Faced, like the Benefit hands down is gonna go into my best of beauty for the year. So there you go. All right, you guys, let's move on into the 3 powders that I have. So this is a new release from Polite Society. This one is called More Than a Powder. This one is the mini, and this one is in Universal Translucent. It's a nice powder. I think it's more on the heavy side. Like, it's super finely milled, super. It's like a creamy, feels great going on your skin kind of powder, but I do feel like it's a little bit more mattifying. Very smoothing, very blurring, offers a little bit of coverage. It's kind of my kind of powder, but it doesn't lock me down long enough. So it's not a super long wearer. Like, everything else about it is great. I wish it had a hint more longevity. It's really cheap packaging for the price point of this. I'm glad that they had a mini to come out with. I think this is plenty of product. Like, you barely need any. This goes a really long way. So everything about it is great in terms of like the finish when it goes on. Again, probably something better for people with combo to oily skin. I mean, that's what I have. I have combo skin, so I test a lot of products like that. So that's kind of why I'm saying it, but I do think it is a little bit more matte. Not that it's heavy, just a little bit more mattifying. All right, this next one, a new release. I picked this up from the Iconic London website. This is their Velvet Blur Translucent Setting Powder. You know, I don't like this one. I don't. You know, of all the things that I'm talking about today, this one would definitely be for someone with dry to normal skin. This one looks very blurring when it goes on. It's very finely milled. There's no scent to it or anything, but I am greasy like 2 hours in. And then later in the day, it's almost like this isn't even a setting powder. This is a straight up finishing powder. I mean, that's what it feels like. And that maybe it was even almost an illuminating powder. I'm like, damn, how did I get so oily? So this is not something that locks me down at all. It's definitely made, I think, more for dry to normal skin. So probably not a powder that I will hold on to. It does come with its own puff. I like that it has a little sifter. It's pretty packaging. Iconic London usually does pretty packaging, but it's just not a powder for me. And the most full beat is the Natasha Denona High Glam Powder Foundation. Not a new release again, in N1. Not the lightest shade, but I think this shade works. It's very brightening. You'll see it compared to the other side of my face, how brightening this is. This is a powder foundation, so I'm wearing it on top of a foundation because that's how I use powder foundations. I never use a powder foundation alone, and the reason I like to do it on top of a liquid is because it locks me down a lot better generally than something that's just like a setting powder. I like this product. You know, it's obviously going to give you coverage because it's a powder foundation. I like the way that it looks. I like its longevity. I like that this is not too drying. There are some powder foundations that I have when you set them on top of like a soft matte, it's a little extra, you know? know? Like, it's a little heavy, but I never felt like that with this. It looks glam. I've never felt like it's dried me out. It is pretty finely milled and it feels very silky on the skin, so I'm actually super glad I picked this up. The final complexion product that I got was the Revlon Glimmer Correcting Concealer. I'm actually not a fan of this. They came out with mostly color correcting shades. There's like a light medium, a medium deep, I don't know. There's like 4 or 5 that are concealer shades, but I don't think that's enough if you're gonna launch a concealer. So I think of this more as a color corrector, even though they're calling it a correcting concealer. I feel like a lot of products are being called that now and they're color correctors. I just don't think this offers enough coverage. This one's in the shade 105 Neutralizer. Sometimes I find the formula a little bit drying depending upon what foundation I'm pairing it with or powder that I'm pairing it with, that sort of thing. But again, not super duper good coverage. It's not terrible, but I don't like it on its own. It's kind of a mid product. You know, it doesn't do enough. There are other color correctors in my collection that do better. There are other concealers in my collection that do better. So I think Revlon could do better and we could do without it. All right, y'all, it's time. It is time to go over all of the blush that I have. Just like every other month, I had to break up the blush because I had more blush in my basket of stuff to review than I really wanted to put on my face in these cutaways. So I've narrowed it down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different formulas. Okay, a lot of powder here and then 2 liquids. So I have been testing the shit ton out of these Fenty Suede Powder Blushes. So I picked up 4 more shades because they are discounted every freaking where. TJ Maxx, Marshalls, Ipsy. They got even cheaper on Ipsy after I bought like a couple more. So the ones that I'm gonna go over with you are, the very first one is Riri, which is like the deepest mauve/plum shade. Then I picked up a red shade that's in Daiquiri Dip. Then my favorite of these 4 is Just a Crush, which is a orange shade. And then I got What a Brat, which you guys told me very, very sparkly, but I picked it up anyway. Then this is like a pinky purple sparkle. So let me tell you, the formula is like water. It's like silk. These are so beautiful. They're buildable. You could use a super fluffy brush and like buff them in and they're fine. They're perfect. They do last all day. The shade range is great. I will say that I know for certain that the Fenty website has all of the shades, where like Ulta has some, Sephora has some, like it's not the same everywhere, which is totally weird. So Riri is that purpley mauve shade and it has like a little bit of reflect to it. You know, I didn't initially love this because I was using a dense brush. When you use a fluffy brush, it's beautiful. Then the one in Daiquiri Dip, you know, I don't know that this looks great on me over foundation, even with a super fluffy brush, because this one is pretty intense, pretty pigmented, pretty bright anyway. You know, I did one day wear this under foundation, like under paint with this, and I actually thought it looked pretty good, but I think it wasn't as blurring when I did it like that. I didn't love it. So Daiquiri Dip's probably my least favorite for my skin tone. I told you guys Just a Crush is my favorite. That orange has that like reflect to it. It's so flattering on my skin tone. You can go ham. It shows up. It's really beautiful. And then What a Brat, I don't love it. I don't, because you don't get enough base with a brush. I feel like it looks super pigmented with a strong base when you're looking at it in the pan, but man, when it gets to the cheeks, it's like mostly sparkle. Yeah, that's not exactly what I'm looking for. So some of these eventually I will declutter, but that is how I felt about each of these shades. All right, these 2 I got from Ipsy too, from Kevin Aqua. These are the Neo blushes. So I got 2 shades, Grapevine, which is a rosy plum, and then I got Sunset, which is a bright golden coral. These are gradient blushes, and they're not the same. The one that's in Sunset is like almost a highlighter in the gradient, the lighter shade. It's kind of sparkly. And then the one that's the rosy plum is fully matte. So listen, I got 2 different gradient blushes, and I have to say I'm not a huge fan of the gradient blushes because I don't think that they always look super even on the cheeks, especially when they're pigmented. So I find the rosy plum doesn't come out super even. It's kind of hard, you know, to apply with a light hand when you're trying to blend 2 shades together, especially when a plum shade that's a little bit deep for you already, and because it's super pigmented, hopefully that made sense. So I will say Grapevine is my least favorite, but they're a workable formula. I've just lusted after these for a while and didn't love them as much in application. And honestly, it's my first time trying like a gradient blush. I don't have many. 2 more now, but like I don't buy a lot of these. They don't make a lot of these. Now the sunset one, the bright coral, I love because I like all of it swirled together and I can go heavy-handed because I don't think it's too pigmented for me. So I will end up decluttering the rosy plum and then keeping the sunset coral shade. All right, the next gradient blushes I have are from Koki. I also got these on Ipsy for like $4 a piece or $3 a piece at one point. These are called the soft gradient blushes. The orange shade is in Cheeky and then the purple one is in Flushed. I feel oppositely about the colors with these two that I do to the Kevyn Aucoin blushes. The one in Cheeky that's orange doesn't show up on me at all. There isn't enough orange here. It doesn't look good on the cheeks, you know? It kind of just makes my whole cheek look orange because I'm trying to go in super heavy with the brush because it's not very pigmented. So I don't like the way the peachy shade looks. Now the one that's plummy, I didn't love initially because you can't go in too heavy with this with my skin tone. But then when I started using a fluffy brush, it was so much prettier. So yeah, I mean, backwards, the Kevyn Aucoin blushes. Don't love the peach one, really do enjoy the soft plum one. So that's how I'm gonna keep them. I'll declutter the lighter one. Now, I will say these are a extremely powdery formula, gets everywhere. So, you know, you kind of don't need a lot. Yeah, it's just a little bit of a messier formula, I will say. But also that kind of makes them soft. So they look very soft and, you know, has a nice airbrushed effect on the cheeks. All right, my two favorite powder blushes, strangely enough, from this whole thing is probably ones I didn't think were gonna be my favorite. This one from Lawless is the Make Me Blush Velvet Blush in Desert Rose. I got it at TJ Maxx, but she still makes these, at least on her website. If she still sells them at Sephora, I don't know. This looks pretty deep and it looks pretty hard pressed, but beautiful formula. Very velvety on the cheek. Not too intense. It's a really flattering color in Desert Rose. And even though it looks like maybe a little bit terracotta in the pan, you know, a little bit deeper, a little bit warm toned, I think it comes out cooler and a lot lighter on the cheeks. This is absolutely a beautiful formula. I was reaching for this a shit ton. I liked it. It's so weird because it's just not like looking at it a super exciting looking product. Maybe my favorite one of this whole freaking blush lot is the Maybelline Fit Me blush. This one's in the shade 40, which is in Peach. I got this on Ulta's website because I was looking for more shimmery blushes. Well, ones that had sheen to them. And I thought this one did based on the pictures, but the description wasn't clear. It does. This is so freaking pretty because it's more like a pinky shade with a peach reflect, and it's not a powdery formula. It's velvety smooth and it looks really smooth and blurring on the cheeks. It's just an older product, but it was damn good. It's so damn good. I love that little bit of sheen. I really do, you guys. That pink with like peach reflect is just, it's my thing. All right, the last two blushes are the ones I'm wearing today. So I was in store. I have one of these shades. I've talked about these before. The NARS Afterglow Liquid Blushes. This is in Wanderlust, which is a purple shade. It's more like a lilac, actually. It's very, like, immediately lilac, you know? But it's not too pink. It's very cool toned lilac. So I saw this and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Now, this one is a lot more sheer than the one that I have in Orgasm. So this is a little bit of a trickier formula, you know? It's something that I would put on the back of your hand and I would wait for it to dry down a little bit and then I would buff it into the cheeks, because you know, if you just like go straight in, it kind of lifts the foundation a little bit. It looks a little bit sheer, you know, it gets darker when it dries down, and it does dry down. I just have a way that I like to work this, and the reason I'm willing to do that is because this is a beautiful cool tone purple shade. You will see my cheeks even now, they look kind of pink because purples just don't stay purples on my undertone. It's just the way it goes, especially I think if you're doing like a lilac on a like cooler neutral undertone. But beautiful. Not a formula that I'm unfamiliar with. It's just that I find that this particular color is definitely more sheer than the one in Orgasm. But give it a second to dry. You know, it's just a product you gotta kind of wait on a little bit. That's all. All right, this is good too. Second best one. The About Face Pigmented Fluid Blush. What are these called? The Blush Rushes. And this one's in the shade Jumpstart. Purple. Also got this in store because I saw purple, and I've been going for a bunch of different purple blushes lately. I don't know why I'm on this kick, I just am. This, I'm gonna say it again, okay? I'm never gonna stop saying it. This is an underrated freaking formula. Why do not enough people talk about this? All these videos I see with blush collections, because I'm really into watching declutter videos and collection videos. I just am. It's like a lot of info, you know, in one place. A lot of people have those Huda ones. I cannot stand them. I don't think that they perform well. They're hard to blend in. They're too matte. These are easier to blend in, still pigmented. They don't disturb anything underneath. The color line in this is freaking fabulous. They're true when they get to the cheeks, and they're maybe even a slightly bit juicy. So damn good formula. It lasts you. If you guys are looking for a purple shade that works on fair skin, please check out, what is this shade? Jumpstart. All right, 2 bronzers. Usually I do bronzers first. I don't know why I didn't, but anyway, this is new from About Face also. Bronzer, Beach Freak bronzer, and this one's in Tan Lines. I don't love it. I don't. And I don't even think I'll keep it either. I like the shade when I swatch it. It looks very neutral, but then I don't love the shade when it gets to my cheeks. I think it looks a little bit yellow. I don't think it's too pigmented, but I think you can build it up. The thing is, it has a radiant finish, and that's not my deal. I don't mind radiant on the cheeks, but I don't like radiant on the forehead. So the way that I have been wearing this is to put it down and then set afterward, which is not an order I typically go in, but I can't stand this not setting it. It is way too radiant. So shade wasn't great. Finish for me wasn't great. You know, I probably would have dealt with it had it been like a finish, you know, that I didn't love, because you can powder over this. You can powder over any cream and it's still there as long as it's pigmented enough. But yeah, that yellowish kind of tone, it's like sometimes I get it and sometimes I don't. So maybe it's just like the foundations that I put it on top of. It's just not a favorite of mine. All right, this I got from the Catrice website that I had talked about earlier, that I picked up with the Space Glam eyeshadow. This is the matte cream bronzer. Listen, Catrice, this is cream to powder. It's absolutely fantastic. It is such a good bronzy shade that isn't too warm. It looks so freaking pretty on me. It's not too creamy. It has like a matter finish to it. Oh, the packaging is cute. I like it. I like working with this product. I like the way that it feels going on. It barely even feels like a cream. It's like perfect. Perfectly blendable, not patchy. Oh, it's super duper smooth. So that's why I say, like, I think Catrice has a ton of good stuff on their website. Like, they keep their best shit for their website. That's what I'm starting to get, okay? Kiko Milano does that shit too. Essence does that a lot with their limited edition collections. Glad I got this. Let's move on into highlighters. 2 are not new and 1 is. So this Kaja one is not new, but I got it at TJ Maxx. It's one of the Mochi Pops. It's called the Mochi Glows. So I have one of the Mochi Pop blushes. So I know that this formula is pretty good. So I knew I was gonna like it. This one's in Toy Alien, which is 01. Pretty sure it's the lightest shade. You know, it's kind of more of a natural highlight. Like, it's really pretty. It's really smooth. I think you can build it up to be blinding, but it's definitely on the lighter side with a fluffier brush. There's just nothing wrong with this. It's just so freaking pretty. You know, when Kaja does a good job, Kaja does a good job. I don't love everything Kaja does, but pretty much everything. Like, Kaja's pretty damn good. The thing is, like this, it doesn't have any texture. So it sits very close to the skin and it looks very natural. Like, this is a special kind of formula. These Mochi Pops and the Mochi Glows, that's what they do. They look natural on the cheeks. For color cosmetics, they just do not look thick. They do not look layered. Yeah, I'd get more shades in this. That I think it's that freaking pretty. I mean, look at it, you guys. Doesn't that look so natural compared to bam? You know, like so much more textured and metallic, where even though you can tell I'm wearing a highlight, like you can't see the edges. The Mochi Pops are really good. Now the next one is Natasha Denona, and I really do like this, even though I'm like maybe bad mouthing what's happening over here. I built it up. I kind of went heavy. I think it makes the skin look wet, but it has a metallic reflect about it. It really does. So you can get this pretty intense. You can also mellow it out. I've just been like kind of tapping it into the skin. So I think it looks a little bit better. The thing is with this, it doesn't really have sparkles to it where some highlighters do. It's a lot less metallic than others. It's very smooth feeling, and it's a very workable formula. You know, if you wanted to go light, you can. So it has a lot of flexibility, and not all products have that. The way that this was made though, Natasha did these in like 4 different shades. This one is in 01 Light, and they're all like flesh colored. So even though this one has like a little bit of a pink looking tone to it when I swatch it, it's mostly flesh colored, especially because it goes in light, medium, and deep. I think that's how it goes. Or maybe there's 5 shades total, but there's nothing pink. So I think that these were intended to go a little bit flesh colored and look glass-like and wet on the skin, as opposed to being like a super metallic formula. Speaking of metallic, the Glow La La from Benefit. This is a new release. This one is in Aurora. Fair Light Pink is the shade. I like this one. You know, there's a time and a place for highlighters that have like a metallic finish. It's just in my nature to like something like that. I don't think this looks sparkly. I think it is metallic, but I still think it's smooth on the skin. The packaging is really cheap. I want to say this cost 38 bucks. So we need to be thinking about this benefit, this bullshit, where you're not even giving me a mirror. I know this cost you like $5 to make, so let's be honest. So yeah, I mean, that I don't love about it, but I like the formula. If you like something blinding and metallic, that's what that is. We are on into the last products, you guys. I have lip products and I have 4 pretty much all new releases. So the glossy liner from MAC, the lip glazers, I want to say they've had these before, but they reformulated them, they relaunched them, you know, whatever. Maybe they took them away and they just brought them back. So these are supposed to be like a glossy finish lip liner. It's really nice. I have a red shade I got intentionally in Ribbon. It's a little bit of like a deep, warmer toned liner. It's just not long wear. It is glossy. It does have that like nice glossy finish. You can really buff this into the lips. It's nice like that. It's just not long wear. So everything I put on top of it, it fades very quickly. You know, you can't necessarily see that the lip liner is hanging on and you just get continued definition on your lips. I like the glossy finish. I mean, I have a couple of other ones that are like that, so I didn't need $25 lip liner from MAC to give me that, but it is still pretty. It's just not long wear, you know? That's kind of it in a nutshell. Now this I really enjoy, but it's also not a long wearer either. It's the MAC lip glass, and I pair it with the liner a lot. This one's in Talented. This is a warm tone too, but it's like cardinal warm toned, where this one has like a deeper brownish base to it. These are great together. Like they pair fantastically. This is so unique of a formula. It's like a lip oil. It's extremely smooth lip gloss, 100%. You couldn't get smoother if you tried, probably. It goes on really pigmented, but man, it fades so fast. I'm not saying it slips off, but the pigment fades. It's really kind of a crazy formula. It's really pretty and super duper shiny. You guys will see in the cutaway just like how freaking shiny this shit is, but the color fades. Again, not a long wearer, but so freaking pretty. And I have mentioned this before, but I'm weak when it comes to like a super pigmented red gloss. Like I get weak. The next one that I have is a dual product. It is a new release from Too Faced, the Cloud Crush Whipped Lip and Cheek color. I did a testing new makeup video with this and tried it on the cheeks and immediately decided that's not how I like it. I love it on the lips. This is in the shade Bed of Roses. This is a whipped formula, has a really, really smooth texture to it. So that's why I really like it on the lips. It like evens out my lip lines and it looks super smooth and it's not drying. This is such a better lip product in my personal opinion because it's that like really whipped matte formula that just looks super smooth. Very comfortable too, you know? It's got like this powdery finish, but it's still like creamy. And one thing that I say a lot, like at nauseum, guys, I don't use products for the lips and the cheeks. I don't put them together. I have like designated drawers, so products don't work as dual things. So this is definitely a lip product for me. That's how I like it. And if you're interested to see what it looks like on the cheeks, because I didn't do that in this cutaway, I have that up on my channel, you guys, where I'm testing this as a new release. All right, the very final one is another shade, and I'm done. I'm done in these, but I love this formula. The Fenty lip oils. This one's in Miss Jellyfish. This one's sheerer than the Raspberry Riz or whatever the hell that other shade was. A lot more sheer, just purple sparkles on top. So it doesn't look super duper even on my lips by itself. So I did lay this on top of the Too Faced one today. Oh, you guys, these are just so good, but I wish she came out with more shades that were more pigmented. For me personally. Now there's probably a lot of people that like glimmery lip oils and balms that are on the sheer side. That's not my personal preference, so that's why I say that. I think it's a great formula, and if you like sparkly glimmery things, I think these are hands down worth it. Fenty dropped a bunch of releases this year and like end of last year and like lip products, and I think all of them were absolutely fabulous. Actually, not even end of last year. Well, yeah, I mean like in the summertime last year is when the Gloss Bomb Sticks launched. So yeah, maybe springtime even. Anyway, that was it, you guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts of the stuff that you've tried. New releases, not new releases. Like, I love hearing your guys' feedback. You know what I say. If you guys aren't currently subscribed, I'd love to see you subscribe, you guys. I am out of here, and I hope to catch you all in my next video. Bye, guys.